full
When
story of
was a
how I started
child,
my
it's
salah as a
still-
child.
It's kind of funny, but how I started my salah, how I started to pray. Listen to the full story and you will get it all in this video. Parents, please teach your children, not just educate them on books, but educate them how to pray. So let's start my journey as how I started to pray. I was so little back then, and my sister came from Guinea, and when he came, it was my first time knowing her as my sister, because I've heard a lot about her, but I've never seen her in person, because like he was in Guinea all the whole time, and I was here, and I have heard so much things about her, but I've never seen her officially, and that was my first time seeing her officially, and it was so crazy because like I didn't know how to approach her, to talk to her, and then say come, and I come and I sit on his lap, and we have some chat, and he introduced himself to me and say I'm your big sis. I said okay, nice to meet you. And then the next day he grabbed to pray when he wake up to pray, and I was already awake, preparing to go to school back then, but I noticed something. I don't, what does that mean? He said to pray, and I said yeah, I see my mom and my dad and my stepmom sometimes they pray, and sometimes I follow them to pray. And then he asked me, what do you truly want? And I said I want three things. That's the things I told her. I want one, I wanted diamonds. Two, I wanted new clothes, new things so I can put on my wardrobe. And three, I wanted a lot of money so I can buy whatever I wanted at that time. That was the three things I told her that I wanted. And then he said, then call Allah, tell him that you want those things. And I was like, what? How? And I said I don't have a large number. I told him I don't have a large number, and he said okay, let me give you the numbers. It's 6 in the morning, 2 in the noon time, and 4 in the afternoon, and 7 in the Maghrib and midnight, and 8 Isha in night time, and it's five numbers. I said wow. I said like all the numbers I've seen is all 9 numbers, because when my mother used to give me his phone, at that time we were using button phone and not church phone. I said 9 numbers, how can it be 5? And he said it's 5 number, call those number and you see Allah will answer your wish. I said okay, I'm gonna call those numbers. And you know what the funniest